Jefferson County looks into why no one submitted proposals regarding homelessness in the community. 7 News reporter Mark Mason Jr. learned some of the early feedback the county is hearing.
You may remember last week when Jefferson County received 0 responses from community partners about a request for proposals that would help tackle homelessness. Since then, the county has reached out to community groups to learn why no proposals were submitted.
We've heard from 4 or 5, I think, at this point. And you know, it's a couple of ranges. There are some common themes, but it's a range of issues that may have prevented. Timing is one that keeps coming up, and the allocation of resources was one of the barriers. You know, we've heard back that there are organizations that were looking for operational funds, and that's not something that was allowable from this specific RFP.
There was no dollar amount attached to the proposal request, but $820,000 the county has allocated for homelessness would likely play a part in it. The county was hoping this process would create new ideas, not duplicate services that already exist.
The county really wanted to get towards supplementing the resources that are already there, and not necessarily supplanting. So, you know, what could we additionally provide here in the community with our partners? And so, not to say that that's something we couldn't look at in the future, but the goal was to expand the services and the availability out there.
Once the county has finished gathering information regarding why no proposals were sent in, Soper says they will regroup and determine what the next step is to provide some solutions for combating homelessness. Mark Mason Jr., 7 News.